This gang, I'm back with another video, and in this video I have another prophetic word for y'all. And what God is saying is he's saying that be alert, be careful, because your enemies are out here trying to plot on you, trying to be petty towards you, trying to basically get your attention in a bad way. You know, they're seeking ways to in a way annoy you, in a way get revenge, because they might feel as though you have said or done something to them that made them feel a type of way. And I got this word through a dream that I had about a day ago, and basically the dream was a relative of mine who considers me to be an enemy. You know, I don't see this person as an enemy, but you know, this person was just all up in my face, just smiling, trying to be petty, and I looked very uncomfortable just looking at him, like, in a mad face, like, what are you doing? Like, you know. So what God is saying is, God is just saying be careful, because people are watching. People are watching you, and it could be through whatever, you know. When we watch the news, you see a lot of people who are mentally ill in the head, who commit crimes that are heinous, you know, that don't have no meaning behind it. And even if it did, you know, why would you want to, you know, kill somebody and all of that, you know? But yeah, we see the news, we see it on social media, we see a lot of these things happening, you know. And it's deemed to be normal, you know, quote unquote normal, but it's really not, you know. And that's why God is saying be careful, watch your back, because your enemies are out here seeking who they could devour. And you know, it's sort of like, you know, the devil using them in a way, because of the fact that, you know, they are going to these levels just to annoy you, just to, you know, seek that revenge that they rightfully think that you deserve, or whatever the case may be. And what God is putting in my heart is the book of Psalms, you know. And I really love the book of Psalms, you know. And the fact that David had so many enemies against him, he had his own people turning against him, he had people that didn't even know him turning against him, you know. And he stood his ground by not seeking revenge, by not being revengeful, by not being petty, by not doing what the other person would do. He never stooped to their level, basically. And that takes a lot of strength, you know. It's not easy doing something that you shouldn't do, you know. It's not easy. And you know, we have to be realistic. It's not easy doing good, you know. And it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of self-control to, you know, not do anything on your own, not, you know, be that angry and person full of hate, you know. But really what he did is he prayed, you know. On his worst day he prayed, and every day was technically and essentially a bad day for him. And you know, he prayed his way out of it. He cried, he shouted, he requested, you know, he persisted on the Lord doing something about his situation. And that's what God is saying. Don't let these people control you. Control yourself. And that's another thing of self-discipline. Like I just said, for David, he had that self-discipline, where as to he was praying, he wasn't doing things on his own. And I find it very strong and powerful, because we're all going through a season where we just want to not be so nice, where we just want to, you know, fight back, say something back, act in the way that this person is acting. You know, we somewhat want to stoop to these people's level. And it's hard, because like I said, it's not easy doing the right thing all the time, you know, because sometimes we do get triggered. Sometimes we do react in a way that we don't want to react per se, you know. And we're only human, but at the end of the day, it's all about self-discipline, self-control, and all of that, you know. um, Wisdom, you know, confidence, faith that God is surely gonna do this for you. And what God is saying, do not seek revenge. Do not go out of your way to stoop to these people's level. Do not do anything that, you know, would not, I'm hearing this in my spirit right now, that God wouldn't do, in a sense. Like, don't do anything that wouldn't mirror God, you know. Like, say if you were to seek revenge, you know, that's not mirroring God, because in totality, God is the one who's gonna get that vengeance for you. God is the one who's gonna give you that victory. God is the one who's gonna take you out of that, you know, because at the end of the day, we can't see everything. We can't do anything out of his will, because he knows what he's doing. And say if we were to do it, you know, something horrible will probably happen to us. Something unexpected will probably happen to us. And that's why he's saying, don't seek revenge. Don't do anything to stoop to these people's level, you know. Yes, they're being petty. Yes, they're being annoying. Yes, they're being haters, you know. But this is the only thing they know how to do, is be haters. They don't have that love of God. They don't have that confidence of God. They don't have that faith of God. They don't have anything that represents God. Only their father, the devil. So of course they're gonna act out of, you know, act out of anger, act out of whatever. And what God is putting in my spirit right now is these people are actually intimidated, and the fact that they can stoop to these levels just says so much about them. And it just tells us chosen ones that that we have that power over them, that they let their feelings and emotions override. And the fact that we have that power over them says a lot. And, you know, don't use it for bad, but use it as a tool to understand that you have that power, you have that glory, you have that power in the spirit to make these people feel a type of way, you know. And it just says so much of who you are in totality, you know. Essentially, these people are jealous, are haters, are envious, are things that, you know, we aren't. So when they see the opposite of who they are, they automatically think we're a threat. They automatically feel as though, you know what, I have to get her off the map. I have to get him off the map, because I'm not at that level yet. You know, I don't want to change. I don't want to do the inner work. I don't want to do anything that has to do with being out of my comfort zone. That's literally not what they say, but how they act and how they think, because of the fact that they are insecure. And it's not to laugh at them in a derogatory sense, but it's just the fact that you can be like me, you know. Because what I noticed is that, you know, God didn't just give Jesus those powers, you know. He gives all of his people gifts and powers, you know. He didn't just give Jesus. I'm not saying that Jesus he's as us, but he shows his love equally, you know. And it's not to say that we're perfect. No, not saying that at all. Really what he's saying is also, you know, keep praying to him. Don't give up. Don't let these people control you because of the fact that they're acting in a way that makes you triggered, or makes you annoyed, or makes you mad, or, you know, whatever the case. Don't show these people that they have that power over you, because essentially what they're saying is that you have that power over them, to the point where they react. They don't think, they don't process their thoughts, they just react because of the fact that you have that power over them. You know, these people want to prove themselves to you, essentially. But the fact that you're standing your ground by letting God do the work says a lot about you. And it says that you have a lot of self-discipline, you have a lot of self-control, you have a lot of traits that embody God, you know? And that's essentially what we're trying to show these enemies, that hey, you can't control us. Not anymore. Not as you used to do. God is the one who I'm worshiping, not you. And they just gonna have to accept that, because at a point, we will let these people do whatever they wanted. We will let these people act however they wanted, you know? And we have grown so much to the point where we can't do that to ourselves anymore. We can't let these people disrespect us. And we're not gonna be arguing, we're not gonna be wasting our time, because the thing about it is, when you argue with these people, when you argue with your enemies, it's a waste of time. And the thing about it is, I noticed that time is worth a lot, and I'm not gonna be wasting my time arguing with somebody who will just not understand at the end, who just will put his pride at the top and be like, oh yeah, well, I'm right, who just wants to get the last words, who just wants to, prove a point and not prove a valid point, and that's just how these people are. So don't waste your time on that, basically, is what God is saying. Don't waste your time on that. Don't give them any time of the day, because yes, you might have to be cool, calm, and collective with them, but you don't have to, make a show. You don't have to go out of your way to communicate and, make a bond with these people, because once a person shows you who they are, you better believe it. And I fell prey to that. Whenever somebody will show me who they are, I would be like, nah, that's not who they are, nah, this, that, and the third. But actions do speak louder than words, and that's what God is downloading in my spirit right now. Actions speak louder than words. So if this person is treating you in a manner that is just not right, then you have to do what you have to do. You can't do everything that this person wants you to do. You can't be a yes man. You can't be a slave in that type of sense. You can't do everything that a person wants you to do. You have to grow. You have to come out of your cocoon. You have to grow out of that seed, and that's essentially what you're doing. And that's why they hate it. They can't stand it. You understand? They can't stand the growth. They can't stand the renewing that God has done in you, in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, in your spirit. They can't stand it. They can't stand the light, essentially, because that's what it is. When you put the darkness in light, the light shines so bright that the darkness is out of the way. And that's essentially what you are. God has chose his people since the beginning of time. We are the chosen ones. And it's not to say that a chosen one is just because you're going through issues doesn't mean you're a chosen one. When you follow God, when you do what's right, is when you're a chosen one. And we have to understand that. And it's not, oh, you're special, oh, this. Anyone can be a chosen one. You just have to be in God's will. That's really it. You don't have to be a hater. You don't have to be jealous. You don't have to be envious. You can do what a person of Christ does. You don't have to be hating. You don't have to be angry and mad all the time and miserable. Like, how can you go through life miserable? Life is beautiful. Yes, there are bad times. Yes, there are trying times. Yes, there are trials and tribulations in life. But God never promised that it would be amazing, all butterflies and peaches. He never promised that it will be a perfect life. But he has something better for us up there. But, meanwhile we're on the earth, he's going to bless us as well. But we have to understand that, life is precious. through the good, through the bad, through whatever. Life is good. Okay, guys? And these people come together, they talk about you. That's really how these people know how to bond, is by spying on you, stalking, and just talking about you, just talking a whole bunch of crap that at the end of the day is not even true. That just shows how delusional these people are, because you're saying things that are not even true, and at the end of the day these people can't even back it up. But of course somebody else is going to believe them because of the fact that, you know, the other person might not know you well. So if they hear something from somebody who quote unquote knows them well, they're going to be like, oh, I never knew, like, this person looks so chill, this person this, that, you know. And then your image gets twisted. And what God is saying is that God is the one who has the last laugh. He's going to have the last laugh. You know, they think they're getting away with a lot of things that they have said and done to you, but this is just the beginning. It ain't safe. It's about to get wicked. It's gonna get wicked up in here, but not in that sense. Not in that sense. But you know, God's wrath is gonna shine upon them, and they're gonna experience hard times, harder times than what, you know, they're going through. They're gonna experience a lot of things that they have not experienced. You know, because the thing about it is, don't play with a child of God, and that is true. You know, people just say, don't play with me, I'm a child of God, but that is very true. Don't play with a child of God, because if you're not in God's will and doing what you need to do for the kingdom of God, then you're an enemy of God. And when you put fuel to the fire by hurting God's children and saying this and saying that, oh yeah, you better watch out, for real, because God does not play about his children. Our Father, you know, he doesn't play about his children. Yes, he might take his time, you know, it's not gonna happen when we want it to happen, but he's gonna come in due time. So just know that you have to just keep praying and read the book of Psalms, because that will give you a lot of direction. I love the book of Psalms because it's just like, when you've experienced a life of rejection, when you've experienced a life of betrayal, a life of people saying and doing hurtful things to you, it's just like you automatically want them to suffer. But here, the book of Psalms is just something real, something deep that speaks to a lot of us, you know. And that's why God is putting it in my heart to tell you guys to read the book of Psalms and study it. And because I'm telling you, if you're going through a season where people are prosecuting you, where people are saying this and saying that, making lies about you, and picturing you as a person who you're not, Psalms is definitely a good book to read. So yeah, guys, don't be fearful of your enemies. Don't let them get the bigger hand. Don't let them control you and your emotions. Don't let them get to you, because essentially that's really what they're trying to do, you know. And you know, always pray to God, because if you read in Psalms, you know, like I said, David was crying, he was shouting, he was doing all of this just to get to God, just to get his message across to God, that he didn't want to suffer internally anymore, that he didn't want these people coming for him anymore, that he wanted that revenge, but he didn't want to seek it himself, you know. So read the book of Psalms. I really would advise that you will read the book of Psalms, especially in a season such as this, you know. And just know that God will never forsake you. As hard as your season might be, God will never forsake you. You just have to keep putting him above, you know. Like he says, put him above, and then everything will fall into place. Everything will fall in due time, you know. And that's essentially what he's saying here. And the verse that God is giving me today is Psalms 57:6, which says, "They set a net for my steps. My soul was bowed down. They dug a pit in my way, but they have fallen into it themselves." Selah. See what I just said about us being a child of God and them putting fuel to the fire is essentially what that means. You know, so God is gonna help you. God will not let you suffer any longer. He will not want you to be triggered or sad over this, you know. He just wants to elevate you and help you and all of that, you know. But we also have to understand and, you know that he's there for us all the time. And yeah, guys, he's gonna rescue you from your enemies. He's gonna put your enemies as a footstool. He's gonna do all of that, guys. Just read the book of Psalms, and this will be an eye-opener of what God is capable of. And you know, the whole Bible is what God is capable of. And you know, we should never ever think that he is not capable of anything, you know, because he can do it all. Anything is possible for him. But yeah, I hope this blesses y'all. I hope that this resonates with y'all. I hope that, you know, you can learn something out of this. And you know, yeah, like, subscribe to the page, support your girl, because you know, yeah, and you know, always go to God, always check with God if this word is for you, because us prophets, we're just prophets. We're just people. We're just servants of God, serving the people, serving his people, giving a word of encouragement or whatever could help. And you know, spreading his word essentially. And you know, always pray to him, always spend that alone time with him, always have that time with him, just to be refreshed and renewed inside, because you know, we all need that. You know, life is already as hard as it is, and you know, God gives us that peace and that understanding and that joy. So spend that time with God. And you know, yeah, but like I always say, be real, stay real, and be the realest, because once you are the realest, you cannot go back to the lies. So I'm gonna catch y'all until next time.